Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Once again, my name is Omoyega Oluwatosin, and if this is your first time of stopping by, please click on the subscription button and also on the notification bell so that once I upload a new video, you will get notified. And on the channel today, I am going to show you how to cut and sew the pattern for this midi dress that you are seeing on the screen. And if this is a tutorial you are interested in, please keep on watching. These are the measurements you'll be needing for this tutorial. Now I'm going to be working with my basic bodice block, and if the basic body block that you're using does not have a bust dart, please don't get worried. You can use a bodice block that has no bust dart or waist dart. You can do a dartless bodice block, like it doesn't have a waist dart or a bust dart. But for me, my clients want a dart in her own, so the pattern I draft for her has a bust and waist dart. And you can see for the back bodice block pattern, it has a shoulder dart. Please ignore the shoulder dart if yours doesn't have a shoulder dart. It depends on the kind of pattern you use to draft your own bodice block. And if you notice in the video that my bodice block has a joining on the hip part of this bodice block, I added extra pattern sheet to create the long piece that will be enough for the gown length. So this is what we'll be working with. Please, if your bodice doesn't have a bust dart, please ignore it. It is optional at this point. Even on the main inspiration, this dress doesn't have a bust or waist dart, so I said it is optional. Now the first thing you want to do, you want to extend the bust point upward, and your extension has to be your bust radius plus 1 inch. If you don't want your bust to be showing, you don't want it to be revealing, so now I'm marking my bust radius plus 1 inch. But if you want your bust to be revealing, like you want a little cleavage to show, what you have to do is just mark your bust radius measurement. Don't add anything anymore. Now I'm going to extend an horizontal line to touch the armhole, like the way you are seeing in the video. The next thing you want to do at this point, you want to come in 1 inch and retrace the armhole. Now we have a new armhole to work with, and we ignore the previous armhole. That's that. The next thing you want to do is the neckline. If you notice it has a sweetheart neckline, you can come down 1, 2 or 3 inches depending on how deep your client wants us. But mine, I am doing 1.5 inches because she doesn't want too much cleavage, doesn't want boobs to be showing. So that's why I'm coming down 1 or 1.5 inches. And that's that for that. The next thing you want to do, you want to retrace your bust and waist dart. Since we are going to include this in the pattern, please, I said you can work with a bodice block that doesn't have a waist or bust dart. Now I'm just coming in from the bust point on the bust dart 1 inch. I did the same thing for the waist dart as well. I came down 1 inch from the bust point and retraced the dart, so that when you stitch this together, they're not going to meet at the dart point to create an awkward sewing for you. So that's why you have to retrace your dart. Your dart is going to stop 1 inch before the bust point. That's that for the upper part of this tutorial. Now you're going to measure from your neckline to the shoulder line and record the reading. What I have here is 4.25. Repeat the same thing for the back as well. Now the next thing you want to do, you want to come in with your scissors and cut out the first part of the front pattern. Please note where we are cutting from. We are cutting from the waistline into the side seam and the neckline. So this is what you should have for the front bodice pattern. This is what yours should be looking like. If it doesn't have any dart, don't panic. That's how it has to be. Now let's work on the skirt part of this tutorial. If you notice this down part has a dart, you are going to eliminate the dart. The first thing you want to do, you want to measure the dart amount. So when I did I had 1.5 inches. I think 1.5 or 1 and yeah, it was 1.5 inches. So I'm going to take out this dart from the side and redraw the side seam. I'm going to connect this into the bust, the waistline, the hip line. not bust line, into the hip line. And from the hip line, you're going to come down 2 inches because you don't want to have a sharp point around this part when you are stitching the side seam together. So you want to create that round side that the hip has. So on the hem line, you're going to come in by 1 inches and connect it to the 2 inches below the hip line. That we have marked the tapering amount, you're going to connect it into the 2 inch that is coming from the hip line. Now you are done with the side seam of this down part or the skirt part of this tutorial. So I'm just going to eliminate the part that you are not going to work with. Now you're going to cut this pattern 2 times. Remember to add 1 inch at the center front because there's an opening. So that 1 inch will account for the slits that we are going to add in front of the skirt part of this pattern. After cutting out the pattern, you want to add 1 inch to the center front because you are not cutting on fold. Add 1 inch. This will account for the slit that is going to be at the front part of this skirt. The next thing you want to measure where your slit will be. From the waistline, I'm measuring my nail line. Then I will go up 3 inches from the nail line to mark the slit opening. You can start from the nail line or above the nail line. I am using 3 inches above the nail line for the slits. Setting this aside, we are going to work on the back part of this pattern. Now the first thing we want to do here, you want to eliminate the shoulder dart. Now I'm just going to transfer the dart into the armhole and we blend the armhole. Now that we have eliminated the armhole, the next thing you want to do, you want to alter this pattern to fit into the front bodice pattern. Now I'm just going to measure our round armhole from the underarm. So whatsoever you have, you are going to apply it on the back pattern as well. So when I go to the point where we have our 5.5 inches, I'm just going in from this point to draw a straight line into the zipper part of this pattern. Now this is what the back is looking like. The next thing, you want to contour the back so that it soon gape when the client puts it on. So you're going to remove 1 inch as well and retrace the armhole. So I'm just going in with my pattern master to do that. And now we have a new armhole to work with. You are done with the upper part of the back pattern. The next thing you want to do, you want to bring in your scissors and cut it out. You are cutting from the waistline as well. And this is what the upper part of the back should be looking like. So we are going to repeat the same thing we did for the skirt part. The next thing you want to do, eliminate your dart from the side seam and withdraw the side seam into the hip line. After that, you're going to come down from the hip line 2 inches because you don't want that hip part to be sharp when you are stitching the side seam. Now the next thing I want to do here is come down 2 inches at the side hem, the part that is towards the side seam. We are going to come in 1 inches and connect this 1 inches to the 2 inches points below the hip line, and that is that for the back part of this tutorial. Remember to add a zipper allowance as well. Remember, you're going to add a zip at the center back of this pattern. This is what the front and back pattern should be looking like. You can see how neat the pattern is, and we have the information that you need to cut out this pattern. This is when I am cutting out the pattern. So I've added my seam directly, the sewing seam directly on the fabric. Next, we are going to work on the sleeve part of this tutorial. You can see that I'm marking the wrong side from the right side because sometimes this fabric can be so confusing. Now the next thing you want to do, you want to mark the sleeve details. I'm already gone ahead to fold my fabric once. Now I'm measuring the sleeve. My client sleeve is 26 plus the piping amount, half an inch, and half an inch for the hemming of the sleeve. Now if your client's sleeve is 26, you are going to add 1.5 inch to it. That's what I am doing here, 1.5 inch to it. The next thing you want to do, you want to work with the width of the fold. So remember that when you were drafting the pattern, you measure the length from the neckline to the shoulder line. For the front we have 4.5 inches, and for the back we have 3.5 inches. That is making it 8 inches. Now you're going to mark twice of 8 inches here. Now 12 of 8 inches will give you what, 16, right? So you're going to mark 8 inches here now. That's what I'm marking, 8 inches. So that when you gather, because you're going to gather this 16 inches into the shoulder line. Now for the width, you're going to add 3 inches to the 8 inches, which is standard. Remember, this fabric is on fold. You're going to add 3 inches to the 8 inches. And you're going to mark it up to the hem line. So I'm just bringing in my pattern master to connect the line and make sure that the line is straight. From this shoulder line or this sleeve, I'm going to mark the cap height, which is 5.5 inches. Now I'm just going in to curve the sleeve. So I'm just curving into that 8 inches. The front pattern is a bit narrower than the back when it comes to the armhole. So you want to make sure that you apply these details in this sleeve as well. Once I was done with what I have, I'm just going in with my scissors and cut out the pattern. Please, you are going to cut on the back armhole first. You're going to cut on the back armhole first. And you're going to cut straight down as well up to the hem line. And once you are done, this is what you should have. Now I'm going to open this and cut out the front armhole. You're going to open it, yeah, like so, and you're going to cut out the front armhole so that you know where to stitch on the front and where to stitch on the back. Now we are done with the drafting of all our pattern pieces. I'm going to bring them together and show you what everything looks like. As for the hem, you're going to fold the 1 inches and pass an elastic details through the channel. And this is what all our pattern pieces is looking like. I've gone ahead to add the side seam and the hem details of this pattern on the fabric, and I repeat the same thing for the back as well. For the front, I went ahead to cut my front piece and also the lining piece. I also cut an hairstay or interfacing that will be joining to the upper part of this tutorial, both on the lining piece and on the main fabric. That is the sleeve details. The next thing we want to do is to sew this together by matching right side to right side and taking it to the sewing machine and stitch it down. So I've done that. You can see that I've joined the side seam of the skirt I've gone ahead to open my sleeve that is going to be at the front, and I use an hemi gun to conceal that part. Once you are done using the hemi gun, go in with your machine and stitch directly on that part, so that the hemi gun will not remove. Even when they wash it, it will not remove. That's what I do. Anytime I add hemi gun to my fabric, I make sure that I go in with my sewing machine again to secure that part down, so that even when my clients wash the details, it won't remove. So this is the bodice part. I've also sealed the darts and the side bust darts. This is what we have. You can see how nice and clean the upper bodice part is looking like. This is the center back. I went ahead to conceal the center back by just using a loose stitch to sew the zipper allowance. Then I gave it a nice space. This is the lining. I also stayed the lining. Now I'm going to add a zip to the center back, and this is the sleeve. This is what the upper part is looking like. That's where you're going to pipe. You're going to create a loose stitch. After creating the loose stitch, you're going to draw it and pipe it so that you have 8 inches. And at the end, you can see that I've created a channel where our elastic will be passing through, and this is the elastic I'll be using for that part. So this is the outcome. I went ahead to add our zipper, and I used the lining to conceal it. You can see how nice and neat the cloth is on the inside. I went ahead to fix the sleeve. You can see the way I gathered and piped the sleeve before attaching it to the armhole. I also went ahead to use the lining to secure the seam, making sure that everything is inside of the cloth. This is our dart. You can see that the dart is 1 inch away from the bust point, and this is the center front of the dress. You can see the slit. This is the inner part of the dress. I told you it is not to cut and sew. Can you actually flip the cloth inside out and it is looking this notch? Neat finishing is what we do here at Mo Fashion Academy, Sabo Yaba. We don't hold knowledge, we give you the best knowledge that will help you through your fashion career. And this is our number on the screen. Please don't forget to call us to make an inquiry. Please don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Have a nice day and take care of yourself. If you are requesting this, don't forget to tag us on Instagram Mo Elegante and on Facebook Mo Elegante or Mo Fashion Academy. Have a nice day and bye.
We can live our fantasies. You are my one place.